Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Wargame Brendryen. Today I finally have a Red 4 gameplay for you. For some reason all I get sent is Blue 4 gameplay. Dutch-German motorized, Dutch-German armor, Israeli mechanized. I need more Red 4, so if you have a good gameplay of a Red 4, either let's say impressive victory or somehow pulling back a defeat, let me know. Send it in, link down in the description below. Anyway, today we're following Robster. It's a 10v10 tactical mud fight. I don't really need to explain that much. He's going to be taking his infantry over to the right flank. He is an East 4 motorized deck, and of course those guys are very well suited to actually taking over the forest. So with a limited points value or limited starting points, he cannot deploy that much. A couple of SPW18s and some Star 266 transports. Considering that there's recon inside, I'm expecting Formosa to come out of these guys. And the stars and the SPWs, some form of elite infantry. And this makes me happy, seeing elite infantry in the 10v10 tacticals. I've been mentioning that a lot in my videos, and well, finally some people actually take up the elite level of units. Now over to the left, we only have one VHOR going there, backed by a couple of transports, a little bit of AA, and that's about it. That's a bit concerning. There is another VHOR, but he seems to be going towards the, let's say, middle delta area. I'm not sure if he can hold the left with one super heavy, but we'll see about that. Alright, we're off. And let's see when exactly this group is going to get its first artillery incoming. Because that's usually how the game is played. One player on each team decides to play artillery, fires at this position, and the other team fires at that position. It's very, well, standard. It's not very creative. And you can see that there is one missile coming in. Robster spotted it in time and decided to take all of his vehicles off-road. Now unfortunately the stars are not great at that, but the SPWs are quite good at 90 kph. These things, well, they don't really care if they're on-road or off-road. They're just as fast. And especially in an area like this, they don't need to go far. But oh crap. Before any infantry or any AA can be deployed, we already have a longbow here. So this is going to be a unit that needs to be taken down very quickly. And if the longbow decides to stay around for long enough, then the LSTR-40 should be able to take it down. But of course the longbow with its hellfires has a far better range than the LSTR with their Igla. So they need to get a little closer, and it looks like the longbow knows that they're there and is not particularly eager to wait around. So, getting his forces to Anna is going to take a backseat to either taking down the longbow or to not getting artilleried. And there's another artillery round coming in. I think that might have been the second Atacam round. And so far, well, they're spread out, but most of the units seem to have survived. Over on the left, in the meanwhile, there is the VHOR with weapons jammed. You can see that the enemy is pushing up with, well, I'm expecting to be 2 tanks. That's a Challenger 2. And that's an Abrams. And you can see that the fact that they're getting smoke support is really helping them stay away from the Conqueror's ATGMs that are positioned slightly on their right. These guys are continuously angling their frontal armor towards those incoming missiles. So there's not a whole lot that this flank can do. That means that the push is going to have to come out of the right flank. And it looks like the right flank is about to encounter infantry, and quite a bit of it. You can see that a couple of Humvees are rushing into position, but it looks like this guy has not quite gotten the memo about getting your units at elite rank. Because I'm seeing just the 2 chevrons for the rank, so these guys would be trained. Trained infantry, whatever type of infantry it is really no match for LSTR-40. And the Motorschützen are already moving into position to take out those Humvees with their RPGs. So the infantry that's coming out here should not be an issue. And there we go, there's the Humvee. That's one Humvee less. Second Humvee shouldn't be too far behind. There's the second one, and he runs right into the receiving arms of a Vihor. So no more no more Bradleys. Yeah, there weren't any Bradleys to begin with. No more Humvees. He's pushing his SPW-80s through the woods. LSTR-40 in pursuit. Formosa slightly further behind, and the motor shoots are slightly taking away from this position. And that's when the longbow decides to come back. You could argue that the longbow on this flank is not very helpful. It is, well, it's of course very good at spotting and killing targets. But it is a risky play to bring a longbow to this flank, because it is quite easy for the enemy team to hide infantry with AA, like the LSTR-40. And you can see that the longbow seems to have them spotted, and is once again scared off. But over on the other flank, this is where you can really do some damage with a longbow. And unfortunately for Red 4, it seems that the longbow might in fact be aware of that. Now the left flank is crumbling. We have one Spetsnaz VMF team, or well, team is a big word if it's just one guy. The BTR RD robot, so that's a couple of ATGMs, but well, they're not that good. A Tor, which has been detected, and a Vihor, which has been damaged and is only again trained at rank. The robot gets detected, gets taken out by the longbow. The Tor, unfortunately for the longbow, can shoot it down if it is enabled. So the longbow is skirting away from the Tor, and so far seems to be waiting for something else to take out the Tor. And if it does that, then the longbow can very easily wrap up the whole flank, because there's just no AA backing them up whatsoever. Back to the right flank. Well, the infantry is moving to the right of Anna. The SPWs are trying to make their way around this flank. And, of course, the infantry is going to be a little slower because they cannot go nearly as fast through the woods. They're also backed up by quite a few North Korean allies. Yukyonde 90. Again, at elite, these guys have a very good anti-tank weapon, very good at taking out enemy infantry. And especially what's going to happen very soon over here is going to be just beautiful teamwork. In the meanwhile, the middle doesn't really have that much left. One BMP-3, which for some reason or another still has its infantry inside. There's a Kiyomaru Shiki coming this way. JSDF Rangers spotting for the tank, and they have spotted the enemy reconnaissance teams. The Granakari are currently lit up by the JSDFs, and well, that saved them for the moment, but it did give the position of the Vihor away. Switching back to left. The Tor is dead. The Vihor is trying to rush back into position, but there is a longbow and a Super Cobra which are just waiting for that thing to come out. Longbow did take some damage, and it seems to be going back to base to get repaired. But one Vihor is quite light. And a Spetsnaz VMF team seems to be going down, or at least it's working its way through a couple of green jackets, thanks to the sniper rifle there. I think they might actually get away with it too. Yep, there we go. But they are being detected. And they are already receiving mortar... No, they're not receiving mortar rounds. The mortar rounds are going for the command vehicle here. Now this is exceptionally risky, as the Spetsnaz is now dead. The Vihor is moving into a position of cover, but is going to have to rely on its own optics, which is only medium. So it's going in virtually blind, and we know that there was/is a Challenger 2 infantry, by the looks of it now, and some form of an Abrams. Let's assume it's a super heavy, so that would be an M1A2. Now the green jackets are trying to fight off the Vihor with their M72s. The Vihors are not that impressed, or, well, the Vihors can take the rounds from the M72, but they cannot take a round from the Edicams. And that leaves the left flank utterly open. Now back to right, just quickly before we miss it, because the North Koreans are pushing up fast. And this is thanks to a Pulliam smokescreen. Those things can deploy smokescreen faster than anything I've ever seen in the game. The SPW-80s have also flanked around. They are they're locked in a battle with an Achsarit and basically waiting for infantry to come up and actually take that thing out, because this is going to take up a lot of ammunition and a lot of time to take out one of these things. The Yonde, though, don't really seem to be too concerned with that transport. And it's finally the BTR-80A that killed it. Now you might be wondering, why the hell were the Yonde not spotted by the transport over there? And that's because it had its optics knocked out. So it just couldn't see anything, even if it was right next to it. Now SPW-80, trying to get a couple of shots off on whatever that was. I think it was a transport, because something like the Kiyomaru, I believe, is still operating down the middle here. There's some infantry still left in this area. You can sometimes see them get lit up, but we don't really have an identification on them yet. Resupply unit coming in to get a couple of heals in on the units that need it. The BTR-80A also needs fuel, as this thing has been plowing through the forest for a long time. And despite an autonomy of 600 kilometers, it is going a little low. What's also going a little low is the forces down the middle. You cannot reasonably expect to hold the middle forest over here. I was almost going to say the middle bush, but that's a bit that's a bit off. You cannot really expect to hold the middle forest here with one group Motostrelki. Despite the fact that these guys can take out Hachi Kiyoshiki probably with one shot. There we go, that's one. They will eventually get overwhelmed. Can they get another one? They can get another one. Then an M2A2 Bradley comes in. There it is. Very accurate autocannon fire. Gets... No, it does not get hit. 7 Motostrelki. There's the Bradley again. And now they do kill it. In the meanwhile, we have detected and are in the process of killing off a lot of Blue 4 infantry. That was 2 squads of Navy SEALs. And the vehicle is a Merkava 2A. That's very bad news for the infantry, because it does come with a very lethal grenade launcher, not a rocket launcher. If that grenade launcher gets too close to the infantry, then regardless of how good your infantry is, it is just goodbye. A6 Intruder drops, or seems to try and drop, a carpet bomb, but doesn't really get any sort of hit. So in the meanwhile, Red seems to be sort of surrounding Anna over here. They're losing heavily in the middle. And the left flank? Well, you could argue what left flank. Because there is absolutely nothing that is stopping Blue 4. The Senka over here are the most front unit at the moment. And with that RT-20, I've seen them do some very nasty things to all sorts of vehicles. But that's usually when they're in an ambush position and they have either a way to retreat or to get some support. Currently they have neither. So at the moment, Blue is really close to just utterly crushing this side and pushing through. In the meanwhile, we have Robster, and he's dealing with the remnants of Blue 4 infantry. A couple of US Marines, a couple of small troops. Unfortunately, he's not alone over here. He also has the support from Cyrus. And, of course, once again, an aircraft comes in, but not the aircraft I was expecting. Because it's a Thunderbolt. Correction, it was a Thunderbolt. Thanks to... Yeah, that would have been a Cub M4 killing it. That's a weird position for a Cub, I gotta add. That's a really weird position. I would put it somewhere over here. Especially if you know that it's clear. Because from over here it can get quite a bit more area coverage from over there. Anyway, they did manage to get the plane kill, so I should stop bitching about it. Now the Merkava comes forward. Thankfully for the Motorschützen, the Rannikos are able to take it out. And that means that these guys can start to at least advance a little bit on the Rov-8. Again, they're going to need a bit of support because they're down to 3 guys. The Rannikos, not so much. And they're also getting support from the Vihor, which somehow is still alive on the right flank. So much for the Rov-8. At this point, I'm going to have to take a close look at the team list, because we got Negroberg leaving the game. Destroyer already left. So that's 8 players on Red 4. Ah, there we go. It is an M1A2. Rat P surrenders. Another Red 4 player. 7 guys left. And that might have something to do with the fact that their base is not looking good. Tide surrenders. That's another player. 6 players left on red 4. Look at that longbow. That is one aggressive helicopter. And of course, because he's just completely unchallenged here. There's finally an Igla and a, what I think was a Scratchet that killed him off. In the meanwhile, 56 Zhu has left. That's 5 players left on red 4. Now the guys on the right flank, one amongst is Robster. They're just very stubbornly holding on to the right flank. And they might be able to cause some sort of distraction or diversion. But of course, if you lose the entirety of Boris, then, well, you can have Anna, but it's not going to do you any good. So he's trying to reinforce this flank a little bit. He deployed a Conqueror's M. Aside from that, it's a ragtag band of infantry and AA. And no spotters. And that's concerning, because you can have all the ATGMs in the world, but if there's nobody spotting for them, good luck. What do we have here? Motorschützen engaging... Well, was engaging a form of infantry. Missile out on the M1A2, but here we go. No reconnaissance, and the Conquerors just utterly misses, while it did give its position away. Conquerors tries to get a missile off. Again, no spotting, no hit. Tatra moves forward. What did you expect? Nani on Shiki moving into position here. If this thing actually gets into Boris and neutralizes it, then it's over. And this is a very bold play by red 4. Sorry, by blue 4. If they can get away with it, then it's going to be very difficult for red to actually come back. There we go. The M1A2 is done. He's finally dead. And same goes for the other one. That was that the Kiyu? Yeah, I think it was the Kiyu. So for the moment, at least the super heavies are dead. Null 9702 surrenders. That's a blue 4 player, interestingly. I'm not sure why. Jeez, you're kidding me? That was another Thunderbolt. Okay. For some reason, he surrendered. I'm really not sure why. Because, well, he only scored 45 points. But they really seem to be winning this battle. I mean, look at the amount of terrain that blue has captured. Red only has one zone. Which is currently being held by 2 command vehicles. That is it. And yes, they have 1 far in reserve. But capturing Anna and getting more income from that is just not going to happen. Now, Chokyonsa trying to come into the building over here, and if they make it to the building, then they have a very good position to stop most enemy incoming units, as well as seeing what is incoming. Fortunately, we do have a little bit of a counter going in here. A Musti and an infantry group, which I'm not even going to take a stab at pronouncing, because I just only see a big tongue twister there. Chokyonsa seem to be in over their head and don't have enough support. That's about to change though, as there's another tank coming in. A command CV, or a command tank that is. And he is very, very close to actually making it to this sector. The Conquerors though, don't really seem to be able to get a line of sight on them. They're not actually firing. The other group is. Missiles are spinning up, and goodbye CV. If they had smoked up this position and put the CV in, then that might have been the better option. Because red just does not have the points to buy any sort of counter at the moment. Now over on the right flank, the infantry from Robster is making good progress. And they're also working their way over towards the enemy sector of Elena. In the meanwhile trying to get a couple of kills on airplanes. Harrier GR7 got hit bad, but did not go down. These guys still have 4 out of 8 missiles left, so if another enemy helicopter pushes in, then they should be able to take that thing down. Now, despite the fact that blue has more terrain, they don't have more points. Red currently sits at 3430, blue at 3025, so they're up by 400 points. And as much as red is, well, really, really driven back to this sector, currently, blue does not seem to have the units to actually push in. But it's not for lack of trying. Japanese infantry is coming in with more Japanese reconnaissance on the right flank. There goes a nice Apache kill. But these guys don't really have a lot of cover. There's no autocannons, there's no fire support, no machine guns, nothing. It's just them. There's also something over here that looked to be going directly for the plowman and takes it out. Yep, that was to be expected. Here's the JSDF Rangers, currently, I think, engaging the Igla. Yep, they're taking out the Iglas. This time they are getting sort of pushed back by, by an M60P. And the Scot. The Scot gets taken out by the M72 Law there. It's just infantry which is not suited to be on the front line. But fortunately these guys just get too close. And they get taken out. So it's time to bring out the elite units from the East German forces. The OT-810D. If you're desperate, then this thing, in a pinch, can work out. Usually you won't get more than 2 shots off before it dies though. But 2 shots might just be enough. And since the enemy super heavies are dead, and there's no real threat in the air currently, the infantry is just slowly getting bludgeoned to death by a very, very old vehicle. 1963. These guys might be from 1989, but stuff from 1963 still really hurts them. In the meanwhile, on the right flank, the LSTR-40 and the Formosa are almost at Elena. They're slowly making their... I'm not sure exactly why they're going around the mountain. Maybe they're trying to spread out. Might have something to do with the napalm over here. And a couple more infantry units in support. The Vihor is still with them. Although it could need a fuel resupply. And trying to get a resupply unit through there is going to take a lot of time. Also Motorschützen over here, Motorschützen there, and here. I'm thinking that he might be keeping these guys in reserve, and these... I don't know, did he forget about them? Is he defending the flank? I'm not sure. New super heavy spotted. This might be a bit too much for the OT-810 to actually chew up. Fortunately, a Sturm will have more of an impact if it survives for long enough. That's going to be tricky. There we go. Abrams just immediately took it out. Once again, low reconnaissance seems to be slowly killing off Red 4 over here. What's going to be making the death of Red 4 a little faster is going to be the Hebyung, and the Hebyung are very numerous. Should have very little problems going through the infantry and the Skrejet, especially when backed up by a super heavy. The super heavy did take a good side hit there, but I don't think that they actually died. Yeah, it's still there. 1 hit point. There's another support tank coming in, and then on Shikiji. The Cobra is probably much fed up with these ATGM troops over here. And just immediately wipes it out. It's a very cheap support helicopter, but for operations like these, it's ideal. Unfortunately for him, it doesn't last very long, and he quickly gets taken out. But we still have quite a few units of infantry to contend with over here. If only these were 2 buildings, then the VDV would have a little bit more cover. The Abrams finally gets taken out. At this point they're already 800 points up. Despite the fact that Red is so much, or so far driven back, they just refuse to quit. And if they can hold on to this for, well, 17 more minutes, which probably is a lot to ask, then they might be able to survive and win. LSTR currently out of Iglas, getting utterly demolished by a couple of Blackhawks. And unfortunately, a Scimitar makes it even worse. But they did take out one of the Scimitars. Looks like the Formosa have also been killed off. And that leaves just Ivan Che. Was that again tied with the Vihor? That means that they have very little in the sense of anti-air capability. So that could be a problem. But so far, I think we won't be seeing another Thunderbolt challenging them. And the biggest issue seems to be standard helicopters, just transport units. Now, I'm not exactly sure how, but these guys were able to keep the Hebjung at bay. Oh, that's not gonna hurt? How did these guys survive that? I'm not really sure. Oh, sure, bring in another heavy. M1A1 Abrams. Neon Shikiji is now inside Boris. And... look at this guy. 10-point unit just took out a 60-point tank with one shot. Oh, that was beautiful. Oh, my friend, you're going to be the thumbnail of this video. One shot. I told you these guys can help you out in a pinch. Anyway, they're still, don't ask me how, holding on to Boris. The Hebjung are retreating. They just had enough of this fight. The VDV don't really seem intent on letting them leave. But they're just down to their machine gun. And it seems to be the sniper rifle from the tongue twisters that actually were able to take out the guys. Another Cobra comes in. We still have two Iglas. And they seem to be moving to a position where they might be able to hit the Cobra. Cobra also taking a little bit of fire from the SPW-80, but it might not be enough. Although... how fast can you get out of range? Oh, look at this guy run. He's just going, nope. Nope, I'm not sticking around for that. And in the meanwhile, he decides to start bullying over a transport logistics unit over there. Oh, this is turning into quite the meme game. SPW-80 in pursuit. It should be on the edge of its range by now. Come on. Yeah, no, it's not on the edge of its range. It's well outside the range. But... oh, it's getting shot back at. He's a bit shaken from that. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Cobra by now might have expended most of its rocket pod ammunition. The CV from Cyrus is trying to retreat even deeper into the woods. But I wouldn't be too concerned with this thing actually getting detected by the Cobra. I would be a little bit more concerned with the M1A1 that's very, very close to the base. We still have some HGMs, but unfortunately a FOB has already been taken over. But then again, who needs HGMs when you just have the VDV-90 with their Vampire, taking out the M1A1. The Cobra, now completely calm again, flies back over the mountain, completely evades the SPW-80, and should be flying right into the receiving missiles from an Igla. There we go. No more helo, but now we have another problem. More infantry. Hebjung, more Hebjung, Navy SEALs, a Bradley for reconnaissance and support. Jesus. Don't you have something better to do? There's another Cobra to come in. And on the left, more Fusiliers. At this point, I'm not sure if they still have the required amount of infantry to hold. They do have Spetsnaz. The Spetsnaz need to make a move on the enemy infantry. Instead of just sitting on their ass over here. Oh crap, the Hebjung have reached the building. Now going door to door with the VDV. And I don't think that that's going to end too well for the VDV. They just don't have the numbers. Motorschützen trying to take out the Hebjung over here. He says you need to get your Conkers back. Yeah, but where do you want to go? There's not too many places to fall back to. No, back, not forward. It's the other way. Iglas are shifting around. It looks like they're trying to bring up the Spetsnaz, but not quite. Oh, here we are. Spetsnaz and the tongue twisters are jockeying for position over here. Uh-oh. Oh, that was just mortar rounds. I thought that would be an HE bombardment. To some extent it is. Another helo. Igla tries to get a shot off. Seems to have missed. Red for 5,000 points. Blue for 4,000 points. Spetsnaz wiped out one infantry squad there. Or near enough. Nope, not quite. Unfortunately for them, it seems like most of the fobs at this point are empty. Wow, was that necessary? If I'm not mistaken, that was an Atacams missile. And that was a BTR 90. Was that necessary? Don't you think that was a little overkill? I mean, I get it. You have your 120 point artillery platform, or 150, what is it? And you want to use it, but do you really need to use it on a BTR 90? Really? Another Cobra comes in. Trying to hide deeper. Where? There's not a whole lot of areas left of cover, short of trying to dig a tunnel into the mountain and trying to stay in there for cover. Look at that, more helos. The Grom might just have enough missiles to take him out. 2 missiles left. Yep, there goes another one. Another, oh, Jesus. Another Cobra. Look at that. 5,400, 4,200. 10 minutes left on the clock. I always try to keep it exciting, but of course you guys are probably looking at the thing down here as well, which says just 6 minutes left. So who am I trying to fool? I just don't really see how blue could fuck it up this much. Because they had the... well, they had a massive advantage. They have all the sectors. Dmitry, Fedor... What? How did they lose center? That's weird. Anyway, they had a massive advantage in points, in units, in firepower. And instead of going for one large orchestrated attack on Boris, they could have simply just waited. And I don't mean wait out the remaining 20 minutes of the game. No, just wait for enough forces to be in a position and make a massive push on Boris, instead of sort of drip feeding units to Red 4. Because that's the problem. We got units coming in single file, just riflemen here, riflemen there, single groups of SEALs, Habungs without fire support. It's this lack of combined arms that seems to be the death of Blue 4 at the moment. Because if they had been pushing in with a little bit of smoke, maybe some infantry that could actually go toe-to-toe, and infantry firing, Jesus, IFVs, infantry fighting vehicles, that could actually provide the support that the infantry would need as they push up, then they could have, well, not very easily, but fairly easily taken out Red 4. Because they were down to just Iglas and Conkers. And it is actually getting quite close here. The Spetsnaz, yeah, they're gonna have to fall back. Another Igla takes out another Tsefa over there. Oh crap, what do we have coming in here? Those Bradleys? No, that's an AVRE. And Warriors. What do we have? Spetsnaz, Tongue Twisters, a TU-55, Motorschützen, and Motorstrelki. Well, this could go either way. This could go either way. The Shouju Buntai versus Motorstrelki 90. That's going to be the Japanese. They will win. That means they have the structure to take out the Shilka next. They take out Spetsnaz. Now they're smoking up the position. That means that there might be an enemy command vehicle coming in to neutralize Boris. The fact that this TU-55 is able to get so close and put up a napalm screen, again, goes to show that Blue 4, for some reason, just does not have a lot of stuff that can actually deal with the TU-55. Oh, there goes an SPW. Those warriors can only fire when they're sitting still, but when they do fire, they can get a lot of damage in pretty quick. TU-55 is trying to counter them. There you go, they just do too much damage, especially at short range. Another problem that Red 4 currently has is that they're both being neutralized and they're running low on supplies. They just need 260 points. If they can get that, then they win. So we're looking for higher value targets. A Cobra would be a good place to start. This IFV really needs to go. LVTP7A1, don't even bother. That thing is pretty difficult to kill unless you get up close. We need 230 points. Any chance that we can kill something in the back? A Black Hawk, not likely. An Eagle. Yeah, well, we have 2 fighters, but we can't call them in because the area is blocked. Warrior, 90s. There goes one. 195 points. They might be able to snipe the last Fusiliers. They seem to be a little preoccupied with the warriors. There goes a second warrior. 175 points. Come on, guys. You got 3 of those charges left. Make them count. Sniper rifle. Oh, that was a hit, but not a kill. Come on. Got him. We need 155 points. Iron Sight left the game. That's another Red 4 player down. At this point they're taking aim with their sniper rifle at either the riflemen or the Fusiliers. They need 155. Aircraft incoming. This is the last of Red 4 infantry. The last man in Boris. And with Boris under Blue 4 control, Blue 4 can now bring in units from the rear. So we're not just going to be seeing units coming over these bridges here, but also from over there. You can already see that they're being spawned in. Cobras, OH6, LAV. They need 10 points and they win. 10. They got almost nothing left. Well, barring all the infantry and the support vehicles on the right side. So, 1 kill on a helo, 1 kill on a transport. I don't care what you hit. Colored Panther, that's Blue 4 surrenders. Oh, can you get this one? I'm not sure. They killed something, but they won. Look at that. Never surrender. Holy crap. What do you mean we lost the whole terrain and we lost every sector? Who cares? We won the battle. And that's exactly what these guys proceeded to do. And keep in mind that this guy left. He left. Ironside left. Negroberg left. 56 Ju left. So they were down to 5 players and probably less. Blue 4 at, I think, the last moment saw another couple of people leave. But then again, this was not about how many people left, but how many people decided to stay and fight. And damn. These guys did a really good job. Who says that you need terrain to win? It's only destruction after all, so it's not a conquest. Anyway, I really, really enjoyed that game. So Robster, thank you very much for sending it in. And again, a call for Red 4 replays. If you have any of those sitting on your hard drive, collecting dust, then by all means send them in through the link down in the description. Just click on the link even if you don't know how to get your replays, because I have a video on there that explains how you can get them and how you can send them in. Hope you enjoyed it. I really did. If you're enjoying my content, enjoying the channel, then by all means please consider becoming a patron. I can always use the support for my channel. And you can find that link down in the description as well. For now, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon for more videos.